At least two professors in Louisiana have expressed outrage after Republican Governor Jeff Landry called on the state's largest school to erect a statue of Charlie Kirk. With one who worked at Louisiana State University comparing Kirk to David Duke, we're going to put a challenge out to the LSU Board of Supervisors to find a place to put a statue of Charlie Kirk to defend freedom of speech on college campuses. Landry was at LSU Monday evening for a rally with the school's Turning Point USA chapter. He said more than 1,500 people attended the event, which also featured conservative bestselling author and podcaster Allie Beth Stuckey. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can be the first campus to do it. A professor emeritus at LSU, Robert Mann, took to Blue Sky to accuse Kirk of racism and express his displeasure with Landry's call. If Jeff Landry wants a statue of white nationalists on the LSU campus, it shouldn't be Charlie Kirk. Shouldn't he be honoring our homegrown racists like David Duke, who actually went to LSU? Mann retired in 2024, but still has an active profile on LSU's website. He published a book through LSU Press this year. Then the associate professor of environmental sciences of Tulane University of New Orleans, Nicole Gasparini, slammed the proposal as well. She said, "So my governor wants LSU to put up a statue of someone who created an organization with a specific goal of targeting and harassing professors," she said. I mean, my only question is, why does Louisiana need a Charlie Kirk statue? Like, I'm not even getting into anything of whether I liked him or didn't. I've made my position on him very clear. But what specifically does he have in terms of ties to the state of Louisiana to where they should have a statue of him on any school campus? Like, why? I would say if any state were to claim him as their own and, erect monuments in his honor, it would make more sense to me if it were Arizona, where he lived, or Illinois, where he was born. And even then, it's like, if Arizona was going to have any statues of conservatives, I probably would rather see Barry Goldwater or McCain before Kirk, just in terms of, again, historical importance, if I'm being objective about it. I don't know, it just seems really strange. But honestly, the vibe I get off of it is that Landry wanted to appeal to this group of, Turning Point students, and I think he got overzealous in his messagery. And this basically is like why he would even make a suggestion like that. I mean, a Charlie Kirk statue in Louisiana would be like having a statue of me in Alabama. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why? It just, when I saw that, I was like, wait, the governor of Louisiana wants a statue of who? I'm telling you, man, they really have elevated him to this almost deity-like status, to where he can have statues and monuments in states that I wouldn't be surprised if he never visited. I'm sure he probably did, in terms of going there to either do one of the campus tours or to promote some political candidate, right? Even though he probably wouldn't have to show up because Louisiana is red. But then when you get into the professor's comments, I wouldn't compare him to David Duke. I really would not. But I'm not going to pretend that they're incorrect for calling him, the things he said, offensive or hurtful towards people in regard to their ethnicity. This is one of those stories where it's so interesting because of how unneeded it is. Like, if I'm the governor of a state, right, I would be concerned with, and I'm like on a school campus, hey, let's up the curriculum standards. Let's invest in the classrooms. I would think the last thing on my mind would be, how do I erect a statue of a podcaster? And again, it's like, I'm trying to be fair. If this were Arizona, or the state he was born in, Illinois, I would be more understanding of making of someone proposing one of him, over there. But Louisiana, and then his explanation was like, oh, he wanted to, make freedom of speech. It's like, okay, cool, but of all the places to put a statue of the man, why there? Honestly, the only people who from Louisiana would make for like an acceptable statue? I guess I'm sure Huey Long probably already has one. Probably Andrew Young, especially over there in New Orleans where he was from. But like besides, again, it's like I'm just thinking of people who it would make sense. Like if they said we want a statue of this person, I'd be I'd be supporting it and even like possibly donating to the committee to to commission it being built. But it's so weird that they're taking this man who a lot of people, you can get mad at me for saying this, but this is just the reality of the whole political punditry group. Regardless of whether he had millions of subscribers or billions of views on YouTube, there were a lot of people who, before he was unfortunately and tragically assassinated, did not know who he was. And it seems really insane to me that this commentator, this podcaster, would be honored with a statue in a state that I would guarantee I probably didn't even spend 10 days in, over people who are actually from there, who did more. Hell, if they wanted a statue of Bobby Jindal, I would be like, all right, go ahead. Or I'd be, more understanding of it. It's so weird. So I just want to ask the question, why does Louisiana need a Charlie Kirk statue? Like, what is the purpose of this? And from what I recall, Louisiana is one of the poorer states, so shouldn't they be investing their money in, again, I don't know, helping the people? Like, you're gonna go to LSU and, oh man, we can barely afford new books and they're underpaying the teachers, but look, they have that statue of St. Kirk. Like, come on. This is what their resources are spent. But like I said, this is the kind of stuff that is so frustrating because this is not some random guy on Twitter. This is not even like a random like right-wing professor, which even if they did this, I still would be like, are you serious? This is the governor. This is the man who is the chief executive of the state, and one of his priorities, the thing he's going to spend a day and I'm sure some more upcoming days discussing, is whether they can get a statue of a podcaster. I feel bad for Louisiana. I really like. I know there's the whole thing of blue states and red states and people trash California, but I truly feel a genuine sorrow for people that live in some of these places because the people representing them are not all that different from the ones out here. They are a bunch of egotists who are, careerism is their main focus, and they'll climb the ladder, they'll say whatever is necessary to get their name in the headlines. And that includes having the governor of a state that's really not doing that well, coming up and proclaiming his desire, right? Making it the thing that he is pushing for a statue. Poor Louisiana. I'm not kidding. States like Louisiana and Georgia and Alabama, well, not Georgia as much because it's got Atlanta, but states like Louisiana and Alabama and South Carolina, I feel really bad for the people that live there because they are suffering, and they have these egotistical idiots that are focused on the wrong things.